everybody, welcome to, what are we calling it? What's 3D printing with Print and Play and Fun King 3D? I still think we just need to change the name of the show every week.
Inglorious 2D.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know that you probably don't recognize me this week with this mountain man of a beard that I am growing, but I am Glenn from Fun King 3D, and with me, as always, is James from Print and Play. You want to do your intro, James?
Nah.
Nah? Okay. How about if I do your intro and then you do my intro?
I only know the ending. Print on. You see the number of viewers drop, like, oh, it's the end of the stream.
Oh, he said print on. I guess it's over. How is everybody out in 3D printing land? We have 3D Jimmy with us today. Freddie Alsteff's with us. Corey Mack is here. Dum Dum Dev is here. 3D Medic Vince, Glenn Hogue. Felipe is here. Michael Cassell and Paul Cumber and 3D Print Viking. Okay, so if you didn't make it in before that, you're not getting a shout out. That's it. That's all you get. Oh, Robert Reynolds. Okay, that's it. Now I'm cutting it off.
You gotta draw the line somewhere.
That's right.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no further.
Yeah. Well, you know, when Fun in the Country Basement first started, we started doing that every week. You know, we'd always call out because, again, the people in the community are the most important. And then it got to be where there were so many, it was taking like the first 30 minutes of the show just to say hey to everybody. So then we had to kind of quit. Plus, as you went down the list, like, you'd be like, well, did I already say that person's name? And then you weren't sure. And so we had to stop. But you know, now that it's just us and we only have like 6 people watching, it's easy to call everybody out again.
Yeah. What happened to my video?
Hey, what happened to your lights, man? Did you not pay the power bill this week?
I mean, all the weeks are blending together. You know how it is.
It got very dim over there in Canada.
Oh, now it's super.
Yeah, it's like real laggy. Like the exposure is too much. A little better. Well, that was weird.
It's all science, man.
Well, you know, if we didn't have some kind of technical problems, it wouldn't be a typical Sunday.
That's not bad. I don't feel like it's as fluid as it should be, but
it's actually not too bad. And again, running through StreamYard, I love StreamYard, but there's always a bit of a delay. And then the video quality always, you know, takes a little degradation.
Well, that was an entertaining first 5 minutes of the stream.
Yeah, well, you know, and that's why I rebooted the machine when I did, was because I didn't want to run into problems during the stream. So I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and reboot now. And then, of course, it's like, you know, update and restart. And I'm like, no!
Womp, womp.
But we did it, and there it is. And
I'm going to bring my second camera in because I added a second camera for printer view when I'm working on stuff now. I'm trying to be the new Chris Riley because I'm in the basement.
Excellent.
Turns out my hair is not nearly long enough, though.
Dum Dum Dev said, now that's an awesome desk, Glenn. Yeah, but it's a pain to move because I had it here 2 weeks ago because we skipped last week. So I had it here 2 weeks ago and didn't end up doing any work on it. But then I had to move it back to its home location and then had to bring it back over today. I do want to get a weight on this thing, like officially. I want to know what this thing weighs. I'm just not exactly sure how that is going to work out. So
do you have anything to work on today, Glenn, or are you just going to be hanging out and chatting?
Well, a little bit of both. I want to pull the bed off of this thing and start getting prepped to pull the electronics. I don't even know where it is. I don't like what I came up with to hold the electronics now that I'm adding the DuX board provided by Project Red. So I'm probably going to end up printing a different enclosure because I didn't print an enclosure. I printed
just a mount.
Yeah, pretty much just a flat. I should have it here somewhere. It's pretty much just a tray that the two boards screw down onto, And then it's got fans. Here it is. It's got fans.
It's got fans. That blows.
Well, they suck actually. Because all the heat apparently develops on the bottom of these boards. That's where the heat sinks are.
Huh.
So I designed this so that it would pull air in through here, across the bottom of the boards and out. I just don't know if I like that because it's going to be mounted underneath like this. I don't know if I like those boards being open. So
well, because if you ever put it down on something, then it's exposed, right? Like
yeah, it could get
a screwdriver on the table or something, and that's the end
get
of it.
banged into. Something could roll underneath there. Yeah, just hands it shows. So I think I want to come up with something different, and I've considered just like doing some type of a cover that pops over the top of it, which may be a good viable option as well.
I too am doing bed work today. I've been working on the 3D printed printer because all my other printers are busy doing stuff. So I printed off that guy there. That was the first pass. He's got some Z wobble and stuff in it. I've been progressively working my way towards better print quality. But the big issue I've got right now is I printed the plates, and it's all like the whole frame and everything's 3D printed. I printed the plates that the bed rides on in PETG, but it's only 5 millimeters thick. So there is a, I don't know if that's coming across. Huh? There's a, yeah. So I've redesigned that. I've had ribbing and I've made them, I think 10 millimeters thick now. So I like, if I really push on it, I can get some flex out of that, but by and large, that should be significantly more stable. So
interesting. Yeah. Cause 5 millimeters seems to be like my go-to. If I need it to be structural, I usually go 5 millimeters. So I'll be curious to hear how the 10 millimeter does.
Well, and the thing is, I think it's just because it's so big, right? Like 5 millimeters is all I would use for the printed carriage parts and stuff like that. But we're talking about a span of 330 millimeters.
Yeah.
So like this one here is a little shorter, 5 millimeters, and you know, as the bed moves back and forth, that'll flex up.
That is quite flexible.
Yeah.
Clint wants to know if we're going to finally see the FK1 print today. No, there are videos. There are videos on my channel showing it printing. I've done a couple different live streams where it's printing, but today is all about not sitting here while it prints, but actually doing something to get it to print right. So I really want to get this thing worked out where it's easy to set up and, you know, easy to put together, blah, 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 so that I can release the files, but more so, Open Builds is interested in having it at some of their trade shows. And I totally want that to happen. Whether I'm there or not, I want it to go to other trade shows to, you know, kind of show off what their materials can do. But it has to be easy to set up and level out, and because I don't want them to have to fight with it like I do.
I mean, 3D printing is fighting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's always some fight. I just don't want it to be my fault.
The 3D printing is like the most abusive relationship you can have, just about.
All right, so
I've got burn marks on my hands at all times.
Oh, I really got to get some of this stuff out of the studio. I got too much stuff around here.
I'm gonna start calling my basement the studio.
Well, the idea with that, one, it sounds like you're way more rich than you are because you have a studio. It also makes you sound more professional to use words like studio. And then if you move it somewhere else, it's still the studio.
And when my wife finally is sick of me and she decides that we're separating, but we can't move out because of COVID, I can move into my studio apartment.
That's right. Or if she physically throws you out and you're living in a shady motel, it's still the studio.
That's right. It's the mobile studio now.
All right. I won't be able to read chat for a few minutes because I have to go down into the oil changing pit and unscrew the bed. But I just want to make sure. It looks like everybody's having a conversation amongst themselves, which is great.
That's good.
Sonic Alchemy is here. Welcome.
We're just here to be the catalyst of your conversations. We're not actually here to hold the conversation.
It was James 2, right? Or the other
I was
James.
calling him alternate James, but now he disagrees. He says I should be alternate James.
Oh, okay. I I couldn't remember. I knew it was James. I just didn't know. I couldn't remember the nickname.
So the other addition I made to this thing in the past week is I put silent steppers on it because it was noisy. And I didn't tune the silent steppers when I started working on it. And the Y-axis motor got about 100 C, and the plastic actually started to stretch where it was attached.
Holy cow.
I'm watching I set up a camera so I could watch prints because I obviously can't be here, the entire time it's printing.
Why not? It's not like you got to go to work. Have you gone back to work yet?
No, because of Kay's situation, I'll be the last phase to be going back into, like, I am working from home, but I'll be the last phase to go back into the office.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you had to go back in physically yet.
I'm gonna have to dig out a pair of pliers, I think. We'll see.
I'd really like to come up with a different way of bed attachment for this too, but I guess technically you won't be taking the bed off of this very often. So
no, really, it should be a one and done type thing unless something fries.
Yeah, for me, it's just all about the development. So I guess I'm taking it off more than anybody else will.
I set up an Orange Pi Zero to run Octoprint using my own tutorial that I uploaded this week. Hey, I can plug myself. I uploaded a tutorial video on getting Octoprint running in Docker it should work on anything that's running like RMBM, Raspbian, and that type of stuff. Anything with the D package application or whatever you want to call it on it.
I have not played with Docker very much. I did one project, and I can't even now remember what it was, but the tutorial walked me through doing it in Docker. And then I determined that wasn't the way I wanted to go, and I never went back.
I'm a huge fan of Docker. It makes really.
What's the benefit?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. In an environment, for example, where you have lots of traffic and you need stuff to be able to like ramp up and down. So it's like on a normal day you get 5,000 hits, but all of a sudden you have 50,000 hits coming in. You can set up managers for Docker to basically spin up extra instances of a container so that you can handle extra throughput during like the uptime, and then free up those resources when it's down. If something fails, basically you can have your persistent storage, say, somewhere on the network. So if you have a server fail, you can basically then just take the configuration file for that Docker container, copy it over, and run one command, and it's back up.
Well, that's kind of cool.
It's kind of like virtualization. It's the same, a lot of the same theories behind virtualization, but without it being. It's a fundamentally different technology that addresses a lot of the same concerns. I'm just looking for a pair of pliers because I'm terrible at life.
Looks like Carl Schumann is joined. I can barely see the screen from where I'm sitting. I'm like, hi everybody. Brian Vines has popped in. Hello, Brian Vines. Brian with a Y, Vines with an I.
So what happened is Mika's leg's bothering her again. She's having some issues walking. It's not terrible yet, but like she can't. No, she's walking fine. She can't jump anymore. So what's been happening and why things are now in disarray? I got a lot of this organized, and she comes down and she'll basically make the motions like she's going to jump up onto the desk, and I'll have to catch her, like stop her from doing it, and then lift her onto the desk or whatever. I put a second chair next to me, hoping that she would, lie down in the chair and be happy with that, but she's not. So I got everything organized, and then she comes down, and I have like spreading stuff out to try and make room for her. And then I can't find anything when I need it.
Darn cat.
Yeah, we love them though.
Absolutely.
She's 12 years old now, so she's getting up there. I'll have to say I can't find a pair of pliers now.
They're with your M3 screws.
They're definitely with my M3 screws. Also, let me see. Actually, let me go through chat here, see what's going on.
I'm almost
Dum Dum
done.
Dev said, "How does that relate to 3D printing?" But I don't know what he was talking about. That was 2 minutes ago. I don't remember what we were talking about 30 seconds ago, let alone 2 minutes ago.
I think we were talking about Docker. If the question was about Docker and how it pertains to 3D printing, it's because you can run Octoprint in Docker. In Docker.
Docker.
That's it, Doctor. Doctor.
Docker, give me the news.
All right, now I should be able to pop the bed off.
I believe in you. Yeah, so I put up a tutorial this week on getting Docker Octoprint running in Docker, which makes it really easy to have multiple instances of Octoprint running on the same Pi, and it lets you isolate that. Well, that's the other thing too, is that Docker only knows about what you tell it about, right? So if you've got multiple printers, you can pass it through specific information about one printer, and that's the only printer it knows about. So you don't have to worry about there being connectivity issues by one trying to take over the other, and so on and so forth. Not that that comes up very frequently, but
I don't know. One of my printers always tries to take over the rest of them.
take over the world.
I named it Pinky.
Gee, Brian, I don't know what you want to do tonight. I screwed up that line. It's going to bother people. I'm happy about it.
Oh, that's all right. I meant to call the printer the brain, but I figured it would be more obvious what I was talking about if I said Pinky.
Zoink.
Zoinks. All right.
Hey, we always answer eventually, except for the times that we don't.
Yeah, well, again, it was really hard for me to see the chat being under the table, but it's hard for me to see the chat now too because there's like bars right in front of my face.
I didn't even know you drank.
Not those kind of bars, like jail bars.
Oh, okay. They finally caught on to you, right? You started downloading cars.
No, you still need a Pi to do it. It just allows you to run more than one on a Pi. I mean, you don't actually have to have a Pi. You can run it on a Linux.
Any Linux-based thing.
You can run it. You can run Octoprint under Windows too. Through Python.
And the Docker approach will work on it, like because my main Docker server right now is an old laptop. So Docker's not as like Docker was like it's been adapted to the Pi, but it wasn't originally developed for the Pi.
And this week's drinking game is how many times we say the word Docker.
Well, I think we just had one more, so good job. Getting ahead of schedule. You know what it's like, all docked up, no place to go.
I need to come up with a connector for this. And again, I guess I won't be taking the bed off that often, but
That's okay.
it's
Part
kind
of
of
the game is over engineering.
it's kind of a pain to. I mean, there are connectors, but you have to take the safety cover off of the solid state relay to get to the connector. Because I wanted it to be safe. I didn't want people to die.
You don't?
Well, I mean, eventually we're all gonna, but I didn't want them to die, at my hand.
Yeah. The insurance for that's a big deal. I'm trying to do this without pliers. And I'll find everything about 5 minutes after the stream ends.
Or even just right at the very end.
Yep. You'll have to cut me off because it'll be like, I'm James from Print and Play, and you can find me on, and then, oh, son of a... You're gone. Alternate James wants to know if you're running NEMA 17s at 2.5 amps. And are you using the TMC drivers with the Duet? You're still using NEMA 17s, right?
They are NEMA 17s. I can't remember what amperage. It depends on which motor. I know that the Z motors are running like they're up there. They're like 2 amps. And the X motor that moves this carriage back and forth because of the distance that it's got to travel and the mass behind it. but the extruder and the Y motor are only running like 900 milliamps, I think. It's been a while since I looked at all of that. That was all set up way back in the beginning, and once I got it dialed in, I just kind of left it alone.
That's not like you. Isn't your motto, if it ain't broke, break it?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, break it really good so that you have something to do on next week's stream.
That's right. That's my plan. At the end of the stream, I'm just going to push this off the desk and we'll see what happens. Instead of print on, it'll be print on the floor.
Print it all over again.
I already have at least 2 requests to print variations of this printer for people. Because people saw the picture of the Groot that I printed on it. It was Grootastic. Yeah, it turned out okay. I print Groot because it covers up so much of the imperfections.
Well, I've had many requests for me to get this stupid project done, but
so people can build their own.
That's right.
They want to print on their own.
Like, you ever gonna finish that? And I'm like, yeah.
It's on my list of things to do.
You know, well, it's not even that. You know, like the shtick of my channel used to be, you know, father and son, and then my child abandoned me, and so now it's just me. So now the whole stick is this printer.
Oh, so once it's done, your channel's over, is what you're saying.
Right, and then I got to find a new shtick for the channel.
I can start calling you Papa, but that'd probably get awkward and weird real quick.
As long as you don't call me Daddy.
Never again. 6 times was my limit.
Okay, 700 millimeter travel is okay on a NEMA 17. Yeah, I travel 1400 or 1200 millimeters, 1300 or 1280. It's just below 1300 is the full travel from side to side on this thing. So
this printer build was sponsored by X-Men.
What's that?
I said this printer build was sponsored by the X-Men.
Oh, that's nice of them.
I went down a rabbit hole this week where I started looking up all the different multiverse, or all the different universes in the multiverse in Marvel. They've done some pretty messed up things with those characters over the years. There's a universe that was only in 2 of the comics. They did a mini series or whatever for it. The mini series was called Reign, and it's basically the Murphy's Law of universe. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. So the Hulk, his origin story, you know, where he gets hit by the gamma rays and stuff like that.
Right.
He gets hit by the gamma rays saving a guy. And then it looks like it's going the same way. And then the part where he's supposed to turn into the Hulk, he actually just turns into like this giant green mass of cancerous tumors, which is what would really happen. But he survived. So he became like a living tumor or whatever. And he was abducted by the CIA and locked up under a lake or whatever. And they still codenamed him Hulk.
Well, of course, because what else would you call him?
Yep. I mean, I would have called him Mass, probably. Spider-Man gets bitten by a radioactive spider, but the spider had some sort of virus, which mutated into like this basically like super aggressive flesh-eating virus. So it didn't go well for him. I guess what I'm trying to say is print on.
Brian Vines, that crosses a limit, man. That crosses the line.
Should I mute him for 5 minutes?
No.
We have to set an example or we'll lure in all the trolls.
I don't think you can silence Brian Vines. Even if you were to ban him, I think somehow you still wouldn't silence him.
I like I'm disassembling this and I never found the screws I need to actually do this. Oh well, one problem at a time. Maybe it'll catch on fire and I won't have to worry about it.
Well, this thing is less desktop-like now.
Yeah, I don't think you can run Windows or Linux on it. Paul is asking, is this going to include the changes to the bed? Yes, that's why I'm doing the swap. I'm getting rid of the old components, which are significantly more flexible. The other big change too is that, and like it may end up, and I'm never going to reprint it to find out. It may end up increasing the thickness of these plates. Sorry, I'm trying to remember where I have cameras and stuff. The thickness of these plates isn't going to be all that necessary. The biggest change may be the fact that I've actually, in the plate that goes underneath them, which is washed out in white. Okay, there we go. The plate that goes underneath them, I've actually added an additional hole with a nut underneath the holder for the bearing, so that it's going to be secured right at the corner. So that, because up until before, the furthest mounting point out was here. So this is where it flexed from. Now it's secured all the way up to here, which will probably add to the rigidity a fair amount.
Now, technically, you've lost 5 millimeters of Z height, though, right? Because your
Yes.
bed's going to now be 5 millimeters higher.
It is, yes, absolutely. But it was already fairly decent.
You'll be sorry. You're going to print something, and you'll be like, man, if I had just 5 more millimeters.
Well, then I'll just switch to one of the CR10s because they all have more Z height than this thing does.
Nope, you have to go back and reprint the the whole overhead bar there, and then longer Z screws.
Yes, I switched the Z screws. I had single entry point ones, so it was 1,600 steps per millimeter.
Holy cow! Yeah.
So it was slow, and one of them was bent, like really, really bent. So I went through and I found some that are 100 millimeters shorter, which is fine because the frame didn't account for them being as long as they were anyways. So the 100, technically speaking, the smooth rods I've got, I could extend the frame up another 100 millimeters and they would be fine. So then just get 500 millimeter long threaded or lead screws, and I'd be able to add that extra height to the printer. But I don't know. I've never printed anything more than say 300 millimeters tall on my CR10s. I think part of the reason for that though is because they don't have the reinforcement on the Z. So the higher up you go, the lower the print quality drops.
Yeah, it gets to be a little bit shaky.
Yep.
Well, and again, moving bed at that height, you're always going to have issues. That's what my friend told me.
Was it me?
It was you.
Feels like something I would say.
You're
Wait,
like, I love your design that you spent a year making. Now redo it and don't make the bed move.
It didn't take you that long to redo that though.
No, well, it didn't take me that long to do. It was a year in development for the whole entire project. So
I would love to build a large scale 3D printer. Obviously, my projects often lean towards something that's bigger than this. I just don't have the room for it.
And that's the one piece of feedback that I would give to anybody that's considering this. Make sure you have the space, not only for the printer itself, but sometimes you have to move it, and it's really a pain to move.
You basically need double the room that you that the printer takes, so that you have a position that you can put it in when you need to move it to get access to where it's supposed to be and all that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, my thought is if you could put a couch in the location where you're putting this, then that's where you want to put this, because you need that kind of space to move it around. You know, I mean, your kitchen could be 2,000 square feet, but if you don't have a way to get a refrigerator in, that's a problem. I can't believe how much dust is in this thing.
Is it a lot?
Yeah.
With you, it could go either way. You could be like, there's barely any. I did a great job.
No, like, I mean, for the amount of time that this thing has run, which of course, I mean, I don't shut my printers off. So I guess it's run a lot more than I really think.
So here's a thought. Why don't you put in a removable dust cover that you can access so that you don't have to take it apart to clean it?
Yeah, some kind of a filter.
Yeah, something just, you know, like on a furnace where it just sort of slides out from the side. You're designing a mounting system for this anyways, right?
Yeah. Again, I mean, this plan seemed to be pretty good. I'd throw it over on the detail camera, but it's still not working. But and this is made. It's two pieces, and then it screws together right here. And the idea is if you're not doing the DoX board, you can print just half of it. But with the DoX board, you print the other half, and then they pretty much just screw together. But again, with no protection over the top. And the bottom is the important place to get the air across, according to Duet.
Duet, tuet.
Paul, I've been doing good. How have you been, brother? Tom said, looks like Glenn got the bet off. Done for the day. I feel like that.
Oh, crap. We have another hour and a half of this we have to fill in.
Oh, I guess I should have taken the bet off slower.
No, Glenn.
All of my time lately has been sucked into playing Red Dead Redemption 2. So
Glenn loves his Vidya games.
What's that?
So Glenn loves his Vidya games.
Oddly enough, I don't really. I mean, I do, but I don't. Like, there aren't many that I get into. But I played Fallout 4 for like a long time. I got right up to the point of going to the Nuka World expansion pack, got on the train, saved it for the day, and didn't go back and play it for like 3 years. Like, not at all. So, but I was gifted Red Dead Redemption, and I don't know if we have any players in the audience, but I hit a point where it went from like this excellent exploration in the West type game to being like Farm Simulator. That's all I want to say in case
Got something for everyone.
Just in case somebody hasn't played it and they're going to. I don't want to give it away, but man, I used a lot of zip ties. I must not be a real engineer.
Oh, I never tightened that zip strap down. No wonder there's so much play on this plate. Whoopsie pupsie.
Oopsies. Man, it takes so much wire for one of these.
I also use cable ties in my design.
Then you're not a real engineer either.
Okay, I can accept that.
As much lighting as I have in this area, it's really bad lighting for working.
This is the only printer I have so far that's got an AC bed on it. And I put the AC bed on it back before I really knew what I was doing.
I remember that video.
I don't think I ever did a video on it.
There was a video of you putting an AC bed on a printer.
Are you sure?
Like, from forever ago.
Because I did this before I had a YouTube channel. This is from my original rep wrap.
Well, it might not be that one then, but there's a video of you putting an AC printer on or an AC bed on a printer. And the reason that I know that was because it was before I knew you, and I watched that video, and I'm like, this guy's nuts. Who would use a bed powered by AC? That's so dangerous. And then I realized you were in Canada, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's different in Canada.
I don't think that video exists, Glenn. I think that's somebody else. I think you're mixing me up because this is the only one I've ever done it on, and I didn't do a video about it. I put an 200 millimeter by 200 millimeter silicone heater on a 330 by 330 bed.
Now I got to go back and find who made that video.
Oh, I thought you were going to try and prove me wrong. I guess technically you're doing both.
No, I want to know who it is now because all these years I was thinking it was you.
Nope. I lost two of the springs. Oh, one of the springs? Hold on.
Yeah, I got to figure out who that was then. I really thought it was you.
Nope. Must have been some other equally dashingly handsome individual.
From a foreign country.
Barely.
Well, it's foreign to me.
I'm saying it's barely. I don't feel like I'm in a foreign country when I go to the States. It's because my States buddies always make me feel like family.
That's right.
Except for you.
I don't make you feel like family?
Nope. You never call me brother or anything.
No. I don't call anybody brother. Any brother of your brother's a friend of mine.
Trying to figure out where I put this where I won't accidentally rip the wires out of it or otherwise smash something. I need to tip this up enough that I can get underneath it.
I have to say that this electronics box is an awesome design. Whoever designed this, amazing
What?
designer.
What's that?
This electronics box, the original one. Whoever designed this, genius.
Was it you?
It was me.
Oh, there you go. I always knew you were your own harshest critic. Come on. Getting this to sit back down on the bed without pinning itself on anything is also going to be a treat. Oh.
Man, this is killing my back standing like this. I either need a taller table or a shorter one.
Yes. I agree.
Hydraulic table.
Kayleen bought one.
Yeah, a standing desk.
Yeah, but one of the ones that you push the button and it goes up and down and it's got like you can record presets and stuff on it. Her work did a thing when they forced everybody to start working from home where they gave them $1,000 credit to build themselves a little home office.
Wow.
So,
But hers is permanent, right? Hers wasn't just because of the
no,
COVID.
no. So she, but like we'd bought stuff for her when she first started there working from home. I don't think we got any sort of credit or whatever towards it then. So she took the opportunity to, because we bought stuff on a budget, like a significantly smaller budget, obviously, at that point. So she took the opportunity to better her setup, which is good for her. Less back pain.
Hello, Heavy Ron. He said, Glenn, I saw that memory app being utilized just now. I'm not sure what you mean. I can't remember what you're talking about. Tristan said, looks like Glenn's working inside a fish tank. This would be a very well-built fish tank. Oh, you took a photo. Yeah. That was just so I would remember where everything was plugged in. Maybe I won't even mount this in a box. I'll just leave it. I'll just like zip tie it right here to the side. In fact, I'll zip tie it like this right against the aluminum. What could go wrong?
That seems acceptable to me.
The aluminum would work as a heat sink.
It's the sink where you put your heat. So there's about 1 billion different screw holes in here. I don't think I'm actually going to need them all, but I figured I'd put extras and then I'd sort of go in the pattern that I think it's going to need it. And if it's still not good enough, then the extra holes are there. And if it is, then I'll just remove them from the final design.
There you go. Or leave them in case something breaks or...
Glenn, are you doing coke on live stream?
I am.
You're a real zero. I bet you that sounds super pleasant. How much is the microphone picking that up?
Oh, we hear it, but it's not.
If I do it over here.
It's not intolerable.
You say it's been an hour?
Intolerable? Intolerable.
Oh, I thought you said it's been an hour though, and I was like, Sorry. Sorry that I'm making time go by so slowly. I think there's a song about time going by so slowly.
So slowly.
And time can do so much. And you're demonetized.
uh, all right, so this is going to be the part that's not only going to be difficult, but it's going to like break my heart, because this wire harness was made to end up on this board where it was sitting, and now this
You got to cut it all apart.
Well, yeah, everything has to run over the top of the DuX board, and if I have to cut up this harness, I'm going to be really, really sad.
This still has more give in it than I want it to. And that saddens me, but we'll see how it is once I've added an extra screw or two.
Well, good news, the board fits.
And I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by
Switching
driving because of COVID.
switching to Duet.
You got to duet to it.
It's not going to be real easy to access the SD card, but I don't use it anyway.
I purposely make the holes tighter so that things thread in tightly so that there's less wobble. If it doesn't have the squeak factor, then I don't know. I've got nothing clever to say. I was going to make a comment about poutine, but only Canadians would get that. You got to have squeaky cheese curds in your poutine.
I forgot that I have to move the BL Touch wiring as well. Because right now the BL Touch wiring is in the 50-pin connector, but that goes to the DuX board. I forgot.
Robbie Max here.
Robbie Mac's been here. Oh, no. Robbie Mac is here.
It's the return of the Robbie Mac. Red Light wants to know what I'm making. I'm still working on that 3D printer. I think you were there for one or two of the streams. The James is lonely, so he does a stream. Inglorious 2D.
How many times do you crack your head while working on that thing? Like, only once ever, and I'll never do it again. I don't know if you guys seen when maybe I've never released that video now that I think about it, but I have a video of me assembling the frame on this, and I had a one of those quick clamps, one of these guys here. I had it clamped up here, and I went to move, and I jammed that thing like right into my ear, and on video, and like as it made contact. So like in the video, I'm like, no, you know. So I left it in the video. I don't know if I ever released that video now that I think about it.
Did you knock some sense into yourself?
Well, I know never to do that again.
Well, there you go.
It was painful.
You learned something.
It's really hard to see. Maybe I'll bring my chair over. Maybe I can sit down during this part.
Nope, unacceptable.
Oh, Uncle Ron's here. Hello, Uncle Ron. Tristan said, I think you can use the SD card mount on the touchscreen if that makes it easier. Yeah, I've got it right here on the top, but I've got a card in there, and I don't know why.
I don't know how much.
But I think I use it.
Uncle Ron.
24/7 Hinky wants to know what happened to us guys last week. Took the weekend off so I could spend some time with the wife.
And if Glenn isn't streaming, then I'm not here. We're using Glenn's StreamYard thing, and he doesn't trust me with his password. That's a joke, by the way.
That is a joke because I'd give it to you in a heartbeat.
Now, last week it was borderline, and then when Glenn said, "Hey, would you be opposed to us not streaming this week?" That actually freed me up. I think Kayleen wasn't feeling well last week. I'm trying to remember why it ended up being beneficial to me.
I don't know. You said she was having a pretty rough day. So
I don't remember exactly what was up, but also the 3D printing benchy contest got canceled because literally nobody entered.
yeah, thanks a lot, you losers.
Extreme lack of interest.
If just one of you had entered,
You would have just won.
you could have won. You wouldn't even had to print. We could have just been like, here you go, you win.
On your marks, get set. Here's your gift card.
That's what you get for not participating. No ribbon for you.
It would have been the participation award that you always wanted.
I never noticed before. When did YouTube do away with the ability to click next to someone's name in chat and go to their channel? I think they actually have to have a channel. I don't know. Where's my mouse? I say that like you guys know where my mouse is. Huh, that's interesting. Yeah. You used to be able to click and go to their channel, and now you can't. Mitch, what's 3D printing? It's a great name because it's either like, what is 3D printing or what is 3D printing? See, it works either way.
Why is 3D printing?
I just printed 3 benchies this week trying to calibrate some ABS. See, could have won. Mitch said, I want answers. Me too. 3D printing. That's the hobby where you pull all your hair out. I had a full head of hair before I started this.
It's true. It was glorious. I saw it.
Polymate 3D said, I think a different model might help. One unannounced for people to dial in.
I don't think the Benji was the problem. I think a lot of the problem came down to the fact that we were requiring you to stream your print so we could verify that the print in question was being accomplished in the hour and all that jazz. That's okay, though. I'm over it. Are you over it, Glenn?
Oh, yeah, I'm over it. It took me a little while, but I'm good now.
Did you use some Johnson & Johnson's No More Tears?
Yes. I poured it right in my eyes. Fixed me right up.
It's the new Tide Pod challenge.
All right. So I need a notepad, my handy dandy Post-it notes, and my Chris Riley pen here because I got to make some notes on things that I need to change.
I'm just gonna sit here chatting and screwing.
I have to figure out where to plug the BL Touch in now instead, which, I mean, the DuX board's got 5 million connectors. I'm sure I can figure one out on there.
Can you, though?
Well, I might have to reach out to somebody for help, but
Chris Riley?
it's funny, when he first used the Duet board, he didn't like it. He's like, no, I don't like it. And then I got all scared because I'm thinking, man, that's the board I'm going with.
Growing him like a fungus, though.
Mitch wants to know why no threaded inserts.
In mine? Too lazy. It's funny. I have a bag of threaded inserts right here.
I've never tried those. I always just do a capture nut.
That's how mine is, right? Like
Yeah, that's how I do it.
you'd have to be nuts not to.
Tristan said, I
capture.
mean, I have a full head of hair. I may not have a full head of hair, but at least you got a full haircut. Not like the, oh, he meant hair. At least I have a full haircut, unlike the other person in the stream, because you only got half a haircut.
Womp womp. It's okay. I understand. You got no style. That's all right.
Robbie Mack said, seems kind of screwy to me. I actually have a mohawk. You guys just can't see it. Only super smart people can see it.
Is that the Emperor's New Cloak?
Yeah.
The streamer's new haircut. It's okay, Tristan. I hear what you're saying.
Purple mohawk.
This is just going to get more and more awkward to handle as I add these pieces in.
Mitch said, capture nuts are great if you can get the tolerances right. I totally agree with that. I spent a long time dialing in the Prusa to get a 0.1 millimeter tolerance.
My Prusa has not shipped yet.
No, I'm sure you'll be waiting a little while on that, but
They're still saying 3 to 4 weeks.
it's worth the wait. Well, it's because they stopped printing parts and started printing face masks. Stupid COVID.
COVID's also the reason I can afford one, because we had to cancel all the trips that we were going to do this year.
3D Jimmy said, is that the new Invisahawk? I like that name, Invisahawk.
You should change that to your Steam name. Do you use Steam for playing any games?
I do. Can you guess what my Steam username is?
Is it Fun King and Glorious 3D?
It is. I use, for gaming, I use one of two. I either use Fun King 3D if my other one is taken, and my other handle is Sir Skywalker, which used to be very readily available. Nobody had thought of it, and then now I run into places that somebody else has taken it.
It's me. I figured it out and started pre-registering.
Probably sounds like you. Which I know you've seen it, James, but those of you who out there, first of all, if you tune into our I have to show that Fun King 360 no scope owned noobs.
Oh, you're talking about Peg Leg Pete's stream.
Peg Leg Pete. Peggle Paul. No, if you watch these streams, if you watch me on YouTube and you're not following me on Twitter, you suck, because that's where I do most of my communication. So I just want you to know that. But so if anybody out there missed it, Epic Games is giving away
GTA 5.
GTA 5.
I snagged it. I snagged it for myself and for Killian.
I just looked at my wrist to see what the date was, and I realized it on my watch on. Only until like the 25th, though. I think it's the cutoff. So, yeah, they they crashed their own servers. The day that they announced it, their servers went down and you couldn't get in. So, but they apparently got that fixed. So, I guess if they were running in Docker, they would have been okay.
Yep. They done goofed.
Oh, you done goofed.
I guess one of these warped. Yeah, this one warped a little bit. It's not going to affect anything, but I also, so when I was prototyping the new pieces, I exported one from Fusion to see how much material it was going to use, because I was trying to get it to a maximum of 100 grams of filament per piece. I guess I didn't update one of them, so one of them is missing a bunch of the screw holes. So I'm just going to drill the holes that I need.
Yeah, whatever.
It's the plan, man. You know the drill.
You're gonna know the drill.
Take it for a spin. Somebody come get her.
I don't know. I think this mount could work if I put
I just made some kind of a snap-on cover over the top of it.
I believe in you and your abilities.
Well, at least somebody does, because I sure don't. I mean,
It's better to err on the side of caution.
all right, now I should have a bunch of parts somewhere.
I will mute my mic for this part because I'm a nice guy.
I still need to look into what Felipe had said about hooking the Wise cams up as webcams. And then I could have a camera aiming at the FK1 table. I mean, at that point, I guess you'd only seen my butt as I was bent over into the cabinet, but that could either raise or lower my ratings. I'm not sure which. What size were them M3 screws that you needed? I got a whole bag of them.
I don't know. I think I needed 20s.
Oh, no, I think I got mostly 10s and odd sizes. Sorry.
Because you're a 10.
I am.
We started scaling up to 100, though. So it's not that good.
Oh, I see.
It's Canadian scaling. Sorry. See, I apologized.
I was watching live PD last night and I came across a drunk guy and the cop said to the guy, on a scale of 9 to 10, how drunk are you? And the guy's like, 1. So, being that you live in a country where metric is the way,
Go away.
is metric hardware like readily available to you?
Oh, no, it's a freaking nightmare. It is a nightmare.
Is it really?
Yep.
Just because of the sizes that we use, or like if you go into a hardware store, that's what they sell, right?
The problem is, like, we have metric and imperial, but imperial ends up being more prevalent because a lot of this, like everything we bring in, is also the stuff that's being supplied to the States, right? So
you have standard hardware readily available to you.
yes.
Interesting.
I just hit myself in the face with my my mount.
Well, that's nice.
Whoopsie poopsie.
Dan said, get a hold of me on the Wise cams. I have 3 running as webcams. Excellent.
You'd be wise to listen. Oh, I dropped the washer.
Mitch said, so when can I buy the FK1 on GearVest?
Yeah, now it's time to plug your affiliate link and you guys can cooperate.
Well, Uncle Ron said, when Glenn learns to speak Chinese to negotiate the deal. Let me tell you a story. IRF, not this past year, but the very first IRF, when all I had was this binder showing the FK1, and Creality came by my table and we were talking, and I said, oh, I'm working on the design of my own printer. And I picked the book up and I looked the president, the CEO of Creality right dead in the face, and I said, please don't rip me off. And then I showed them my design. And then they were like writing stuff down and taking pictures of all my pictures. I don't know what they're. No, I'm kidding. It didn't really.
And that printer eventually evolved into what's the new one? The FT6 or something, or CM6 or.
Oh, the FT6, the Folger Tech.
No, the new Creality Kickstarter printer.
Oh, I don't know. But this printer right here would be a terrible idea for somebody to rip off and try to sell. Because one, the audience that wants it is going to be very small. And two, the audience that wants it is going to get the design for free. So therefore, it wouldn't make any sense to try to rip it off.
I mean, technically, that's the way things are with the Prusa, too. You can go download the designs for the Prusa printers and make your own. And companies have ripped it off and been successful there as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I put a washer on this one since there's no predefined hole for this.
So I did have a good experience on the Facebook this week. Somebody had asked about, and I don't remember the way that the thread was worded, but something along the lines of, a large format printer. And I can't remember if they asked if, for inexpensive or I don't know. So I threw a link to my trailer for this thing, the rendered one. And just because I like to promote it, it gets me a little traffic. And so somebody had chimed in and said, yeah, the problem with that is that project pretty much died in 2018 and the guy wants like $2,000 for it. And I said, well, the guy, me, is actually going to give it away. Well, the design anyway, you have to pay for your own parts. And I said, it's very much still alive and functional. So it was kind of a cool interaction because I was having a conversation with somebody and they didn't realize it was mine, which I guess is bad on the other hand, because it now makes me realize that people don't know who I am.
Womp womp. I know who you are, Glenn.
That's all that's important.
Oh, I missed an opportunity. I should have called you by somebody else's name there.
Yeah. Totally.
I know who you are. I know who you are, Chris.
I know who you are, Greg. I get that a lot. Greg or Gary. I love when you send somebody an email and it's got not only your name in the email address, but also in your signature, and then they call you back by the wrong name.
Yep.
But I've also had my 15 minutes of fame this week because I finally got my hands on the blueprints for the new White Castle that they're building in Orlando. And I belong to a Facebook group called Bring White Castle to Florida. And so I immediately went over there and was like, hey, it's really happening. This is how big it is. This is when it's taking off. I know because I have the plans in front of me. So then that group reposted it, which I thought was kind of cool. And then even bigger than that, I got a message this morning that man, I'm out of screws. That I got reposted to a group in the county where I grew up. Like all of a sudden my post showed up in their community group. And I'm like, yep, the forgotten estimator finally got his 15 minutes of fame. But I can't post a picture of the blueprints. That's a no-no. I mean, I'm not under a non-disclosure on this particular job, but you still just don't do it. So I can't really show, but people ask, well, how many grilling stations are there? And so I was able to answer questions as such.
Matt Johnson responded to us talking about not knowing who you were by saying, oh, I thought that was Walter Sr.
Ouch. Man, 5-minute ban.
That joke's as old as Glenn is.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Walter. He's called me twice, but...
What do you call you, a jerk?
Oh, he calls me all kinds of stuff, but... No, at one point he called me... I don't know why where I was, but then the other time that he called me and I was dealing with an employee at work who was having some computer issues. I cannot believe that I am out of those screws. That is not good. The project cannot go on without them.
Are you screwed?
No, I'm not screwed. That's the problem. There's one laying in the bottom of the drawer.
Oh, there. Did you only need one more?
No.
Well, you're still screwed then.
I need 8, 11, 12, 13, 14 more.
It is coming together nicely, except for the surface finish. These were all printed on the same printer at the same settings. And the surface finish is different for all 4 pieces ever so slightly, with this one being, this one being completely different. That weird?
Glenn Hogue said, I get that too. Sometimes they spell my name with 2 N's. Even my name is in the header. I get them all the time spelling it with 1 N. That's why I stress it's Glenn with 2 N's, not like some serial killer. Ron, are you quoting the build? I am actually, not the whole thing, just the masonry portion of it.
Why is that screw hole not lined up?
Well, it looks like at this point, I am completely dead in the water. I didn't really want to do any more work today anyway.
Why? Is it a day ending in Y?
Yeah, I'm pretty lazy. I should start a gaming channel so I can sit around playing Red Dead Redemption.
You don't even have to be good at games. I saw this one kid that used to be on a 3D printing channel, and he streams video games. He's not very good.
No. Oh, he's not up here.
He's not there? You didn't hear that?
No.
Maybe he's watching the house. Now he doesn't hear.
He's probably down crying himself to sleep on his huge pillow. That's a good reference for anybody that can tell me where that came from.
Crying himself to sleep?
Crying himself to sleep on his huge pillow.
I can't remember where that came from now. I've definitely heard it before.
That boy's got a huge cranium. It's like an orange on a toothpick.
Is it from one of the Austin Powers movies?
No, but very close. It is from So I Married an Axe Murderer, which had Michael Myers in it.
Was it from every Mike Myers movie ever? Sorry.
Pretty much, yeah.
He hasn't done much lately. He was in Inglourious Bastards, though, and he was in Bohemian Rhapsody, and my wife did not recognize him in Bohemian
Yeah, that one was shocking. Like, I didn't recognize him at first either until he said something, and then I realized who it was.
Then you got in his belly.
It's like all of a sudden it was a serious role. Not a very big one, but yeah, Matt Johnson got it.
So I married an actor.
Glenn Hogue said, I knew you'd drag out the serial killer comment at some point.
It's because of the number of N's in your name.
That's right. Tristan said, how is Swamp Guy Larry? I wonder if he's coping with being stuck at home. I wonder how he's coping. Well, I've seen some posts on Facebook, and he's like, anybody wants to come over? My front porch is open. And I'm like, no, that's not the way it works, man. I don't let anybody come to my house. I still haven't been out. I mean, they've lifted the whole stay-at-home order in Florida, but I still don't go out.
I think they expanded our maximum, and like, don't quote me on this because I didn't follow it that closely, but I think they just expanded the maximum gathering size from 5 to 10.
Well, see, ours has been 10, but with a 6-foot spacing or whatever. But I don't generally like to go outside and out in the public anyway, so I'm going to milk this for as long as I can.
I don't like people as it is, so you know.
Yeah, my mom was like, oh, you're still staying at home? I'm like, yep. And she's like, well, that's not good for you. And I'm like, do you not know me at all? This is perfect for me. I said, you didn't go out before. Not very often. But like my church even extended where they're not doing in-house services. They're only doing it online. They know what's what.
Yep. I generally believe that God protects those who work to protect themselves. If you walk out in front of a bus.
Well, and that's the discussion that my boss and I had too. He's like, you're not leaving this planet until God wants you to leave this planet. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but maybe God's plan is not for me to die, but I don't want to spend 2 to 4 weeks in bed miserably sick with possible long-term medical problems afterwards. So I'm just going to not catch it at all, and then I'll be better off. Because now they're saying that it can cause long-term kidney damage.
Kidney, heart, lung.
Yeah, as a diabetic, I already have kidney like threats.
Why tempt fate?
That's right. I'm just going to stay home. Plus, we have saved like so much money by not eating out all the time.
Yep. I'm not putting nuts on these guys because they're more just to sort of take out some of the wobble, but they don't. They're not as important. So, and I don't have screws long enough to make it through to there. So, these are the ones that are deemed less important.
I'm going to have to change the length on the power cable as well. I thought I could just slide that power box forward to get the other Z motor behind it, but I made that cable too much the right side. And I don't really want to tuck the power supply under any further. Well, that's stinky poo.
Oh, did you have an accident?
Well, yeah, but that's a whole nother story.
It's a good thing YouTube doesn't have smell-o-vision.
Well, that's very true on a weekly basis as I'm up here cutting wind.
It's true.
Aren't you guys glad that I'm so transparent? Why hide it? Let it flow. I guess I can steal 4 screws out of this thing for now.
Yeah, just take screws from places where it's easier to get to so you can finish doing what you're doing.
Well, I mean, the things that I'm doing are pretty easy to get to. Just
Well, not when the bed's back on, right? We actually took a poll. You're not allowed to log off tonight until the bed's back on it. So.
Oh, well, that's going to be a tough thing because I got to order parts, so I'll be streaming for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but think of your watch time.
Nobody's going to watch that. Nobody watches this now.
Oh, you haven't checked since I joined. People love me. I'm just kidding. My streams usually don't end in the double digits.
Well, that's what I asked Xander the other day. I said, so how many subscribers do you have now? And he's up around 180, I think. And I'm like, and how many people you get tuning into your live stream? And he's like, 10. I'm like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but 5 of those are me. I just open them up on my bot accounts and let it stream so you can get the view time.
Tom Lama says he's dual streaming. I didn't realize that I was competing with anybody. Doesn't anybody realize this is my time slot?
Who's streaming?
A Buzz Design and Vanfall Puppies.
I see how it is.
Nick and Lauren.
See, the problem is we let Joel walk all over us that one time, and now everybody's doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, did you hear the story that he told on the 1440 stream?
Sorry, I did not.
Okay.
Joel is on the 1440 stream?
Yeah, he wasn't scheduled to be on it, but like he popped in right before my hour started.
Sorry, I'm done now.
That's okay. And so he was telling a story that so he's got spam blocker on his phone line, robocaller.
Yep.
And he's got it set up where when you call, it asks you if it's a number that is not recognized. It asks you like who you are and why you're calling, which I didn't realize was a feature. So I went in and set that up afterwards. But and he said so he gets a call, and it shows on his caller ID that it's from his wife. And but from a number he doesn't recognize. And so like he goes ahead and answers it anyway, and he says there's this little voice on the other side, and he's like, oh, and he's like, is this Joel? This 3D printing nerd? And he's like, yeah, this is Joel. 3D printing nerd, Joel. Yes, this is the 3D printing nerd, Joel. Like this, and it's this little, like a younger kid, and he's like, can you help me with my 3D printer?
Oh my gosh.
And Joel's like, well, I don't do tech support over the phone. If you want to shoot me an email, I'll see if I can help you out or whatever, like this. And so I don't know. The whole thing went on, and the kid ends up sending him a Zoom invite from his school email account. And Joel's like, I'm not sure what to do about this. And I'm like, well, what you need to do is call the kid back and help him with his 3D printer. But I guess Joel got doxxed some time back, so his information is out there. And here, I thought I was all special for having it.
I don't have it, so you're still special, more special than me.
Well, apparently, if you want it, it only takes like a 2-minute Google search.
Nah, it's okay. I stopped being creepy back in the 90s. I'm just kidding. I never stopped being creepy. This plate's significantly more solid. It should be. I'm hoping to get a print off of this today, but we'll see.
That's high hopes.
What? Just because I'm from Canada, I'm high all the time? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That's rude.
You guys in the New Leaf.
Oh, Canada, CBD, THC.
Oh, me and my old bones. Am I even in frame? No, I'm like over here. Hi, everybody.
And I'm Xander, and this is Fun King 3D. I'm just going to start calling myself Xander during these streams. You, Xander, but I still won't call you Daddy.
Good thing. Man, did I make the tolerance on that tight?
Because you're known for your intolerance.
My intolerance of tolerance.
Yes? Isn't that the same thing then? If you forget a drill hole, just drill your own. So this thing here is like 700 grams all assembled, I think, or 600 grams all assembled. I don't know how that compares to an aluminum plate that would do the same thing. I also want to make clear, those who are watching are like, why did you 3D print that? If it was just for me, because this is the thing too, all the projects I do now, I never do them just for me. I do them for everybody that's on my channel. Because there's always somebody else out there that wants to duplicate something I've done.
For some weird reason.
So the spirit of this was to 3D print the frame completely. I consider this part of the frame that holds the bed. If it was just for me, I actually would have not done this 3D printed. I would have printed the white part here on the back, the part that mounts to the bearings, and then I would have just bolted a piece of like 5mm plywood to it. But because it's for the channel, and I want people to be able to exactly duplicate what I do, and be able to say, yeah, I 3D printed this frame, and not have somebody say, well, actually, I've gone ahead and made it all 3D printed. Okay, that seems fairly reasonable. Like, I can still flex it if I really push on it, but I think that'll be okay. And if it's not, I give up.
Bro. Why are you winded? Oh.
Who broke wind? What?
No, my wife is up here winded.
Oh, I wouldn't have made a fart joke if I knew it was Grisilla. I respect much.
No, yeah, you don't want to make jokes about her farts, man. They make the paint peel off the walls.
Hey,
We were in the car one time. We're driving along in the car, our old Nissan Altima, and I'm driving, and Priscilla's in the passenger seat, and her mom's in the back seat, and she lets one rip, and it was so stinky we had to put the windows down. And I said to her mom, I said, "Whew, are you proud now? Are you a proud mama?" And she's like, "No."
Couldn't have been as bad as the White Castle ones I hear you have.
Oh my gosh. I look forward to those. Just imagine all four of us in a car for like 1,700 miles after eating it 3 times.
Nope, that's okay. I don't want to throw up in my mouth.
Not even just a little?
Not even just a little. And certainly not a lot. Joel, in his video this morning, came as close to an inappropriate joke as I've ever heard Joel come.
Really?
He made a comment about having big
Be
feet.
careful now.
And he said, you know what they say about people with big feet?
They have big shoes.
They have big socks, is how he finished his.
Oh.
I was aghast. Aghast?
Oh, I haven't been watching chats. If you guys have said anything really great, we'll have to go back and do it again. Canadians, Xander. I like ice water paper, Xander. Every time I hear Canada, I think of South Park. Yes, with their beady eyes and their flappy heads.
Hey, Glenn, you can see the printer here, right in the corner.
What's that?
You can see the printer bed here in the corner.
Yep.
Check it out. I'm MC Maker. Like spinning on the records.
Scratching, yeah.
Yeah. Da 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 da. I gotta get the cable ties on that now. This just keeps getting more and more complicated. Why do I have to go and make things so complicated? I wonder if I can get it on its side without destroying my entire universe. No one knows for sure, but I intend to find out. Let's see if anybody finishes that quote. That's from a TV show in the 90s. Sean Butler said, I don't even think James ever left the 90s.
What's wrong with that? The 90s were pretty good.
The only thing that happened to me after the 90s that was good is I met Keeleen. Technically, I probably had met her in the 90s, though, because her parents owned the corner store down the street from my house. We started dating in 2001. We started dating in high school.
Well, we weren't in high school, but that's when Priscilla and I started dating.
2001?
Yep.
Twinsies.
And oddly enough, there was a time when I was at Disney's, what was it called back then? MGM Studios. And she was actually there, but we didn't know each other. And Howie Mandel was there. He was there to sign his name in the concrete. And years later, we figured out that we were standing like 20 feet apart. She was giving a tour. And I was loaning my pen to Howie Mandel to write his name in the concrete.
Oh, that was close. And it didn't happen then, but it happened years later. Things happen when they're supposed to happen.
That's right. We apparently had unfinished tasks in life that we needed to take care of first.
You needed to mature a whole bunch.
Yes.
It didn't happen, but things went forward anyways.
Right. She was tired of waiting.
I forgot my new bags of cable ties upstairs. Wonder if I have enough to make this happen. Probably not.
Yes, because it's such a long journey to go upstairs.
Hey, I'm fat. Walking upstairs is a big deal.
I need screws. I have to come all the way from Maryland.
Well, you're not going to walk to Maryland, are you?
No,
Oddly enough, it's they're located in Bel Air, I believe.
Ding, tss, 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 tss. Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Okay, I'll be back in a second. If I don't come back, I die. Avenge me.
Will do.
Oh, I just caught a camera in the ribs.
And silence fell over the stream. Yeah, once in a while I go like, "Hi, I'm still here." When I was underneath the table, I was like reaching up from under the table. I thought this was going to be an easy conversion. Slide a couple of things, bolt a couple of things on. Unfortunately, I made everything fit so well that that's not how it went down. And of course, my back is killing me, and then I'm standing hunched over, so it's really, really killing me now. I'm gonna have to turn this monitor so I can see the chat. It doesn't.
That's why Glenn's the worst. And we're back. Oh, when did I do that? I didn't even realize I'd whacked the camera.
No, I didn't notice either. I wasn't watching. I was busy with my own project. Oh, no.
Are these too thick? Did I order the wrong ones? They look like they're going to be too thick. They are. They are too thick. Okay, well. Nards.
I have a tech tip for everybody when building wiring harnesses. Always make sure you leave service loops in everything that you do. Because in cases like right now, it's going to be really handy because now that harness is long enough to get where I need it to get.
That's all about leaving extra material so you can work around it.
So you can change it later, right? Yeah, I'm still trying to come up with a good way to be able to tell people how to make the harness for this.
Just start manufacturing them and then selling them.
What's that?
Just manufacture the harness and sell it.
No, I don't want to be in the business of selling anything 3D printing related. I mean, other than the Fun King monthly subscription filament box.
Brought to you by Grisilla.
I kind of cheated on moving this. I backed the wire out, so now the outer insulation. I mean, the wires are still insulated, but the outer cable wrap is not all the way to where it needs to be.
Gotcha.
So a little cheat, but I just want to make sure this is all going to work, and then I can.
Do you know that there's a universe where they turn the Marvel superheroes into zombies?
I did hear something about that.
I read those comics and it was interesting. I like zombie flicks, so. Not that that'll ever get made into a movie.
I doubt it. Of course, it is now owned by Disney, so maybe.
I actually think it probably makes it less likely. Somehow I don't think Disney's going to be in the zombie universe type mood.
Yeah. Disney's in the making money business, so they'll do whatever they can to get more money.
So it's like Disney basically prints money. I'm like, I don't think Disney could print money any faster than they make it the way they do.
No, for years I've tried to figure out exactly how much money they make every day in parking alone. Because they charge like $20 a car a day to park. And there's thousands and thousands of parking spots out there. Dan said Disney has a show called Zombies.
Did they? Do they? Isn't this lining up?
Tristan said I should concentrate on making a printer instead of documentation. That will come at the end, and if people can't figure it out, then they probably shouldn't build it. Well, that's a nice thought, but it's so much harder to go back and write the documentation at the end. Because at that point, you're just done, and you're like, I just don't want to do anything more.
This would be a lot easier if I could flip it over, but I can't flip it over because of science. And also lack of desk space.
And this is the most project work I've done on a stream in a long time.
I must have inspired you.
Yeah, I don't even feel like I'm getting anywhere.
I definitely inspired you then.
Yeah, I've kind of hit about all the further I can go until I order more hardware, which is an order into Open Builds and an order into Bellmetric. Oh, my back. My back hurts. Now my front hurts.
I have 2 owies.
Shut up, Peanut Gallery. I don't know if you guys heard Xander, but he's like, your face hurts me.
I bet you his 5 subscribers thought that was hilarious.
Oh, now you did it, James. He's crying.
Oh, okay. Well, knock that off my bucket list.
Oh, he actually said that was very funny.
Oh.
Except for he said it in a derogatory term. I changed it.
Oh, did he say, oh, that's very funny? We actually don't have sarcasm in Canada, so everything sounds like it's completely sincere.
Uncle Ron said, I'm going to have to build him one and do his documentation during round 2, which we have actually talked about that. So if Uncle Ron decides that he wants one of these, we're thinking that we're just going to have everything delivered here, and then I'm going to build a second one and document it that way.
That would be extra beneficial. I had to do that with the printer, the like mini ready printer 1.
Yeah. It would be beneficial for me, and it would be super beneficial for Uncle Ron because he wouldn't have to do it. And then the first 5 kits that I sell, I'm going to sell at a discount so that I can get feedback. Those will be sold at a price of $0. The kit will include nothing more than the documentation on how to build your own.
Seems legit.
Yeah, and I'm just going to make it a download link, so I don't even have to email it to people.
And have it congratulate everybody. It says you're in the top 5.
That's right. Yeah. Please send feedback. Uncle Ron said I have to live with a black and yellow printer. No, I'd do it in any color you want.
As long as it's black and yellow.
As long as it's black and yellow. Well, I mean, the frame either has to be black or silver.
Well, that's not true because they have well, actually, I don't know if it comes in the bigger pieces or not.
Well, yeah, not through Open Builds. It doesn't. Like, I know you can get it elsewhere anodized, but right now I think you can only get the bare kits pre-cut anodized. Now, Mark from Open Builds was telling us at Orlando Maker Faire that that's something that they've been kind of kicking around and that they may consider it in the future, being able to anodize them.
Hey, customization is a big deal.
Yeah, well, and they also need to go to 2,000 millimeter pieces, so I can make this thing bigger next time.
Well, there you go. Build the bigger one for you, and then give the smaller one to.
Yeah, there's no way I would build a bigger one of these. I'm telling you, this thing is a pain in the butt to move.
I am seriously considering building a smaller one though. You know, more cube than anything else. Something that wouldn't require a jig plate bed, like something I could use a regular bed on. And so maybe like a 300, but I'd go like 300, 500.
That's not a cube.
No. Well, it would be by the time the frame was built, because you have to build the frame bigger than the bed. So it would probably be like 600, 600, 600. How much would powder coating change the dimensions? Not enough to ever notice. Where in the world is Walter? He doesn't live here anymore.
Walter quit.
He moved to Siberia.
I forgot to put a zip screw or zip tie through one of these holes, and I'm trying to do it with my fantastic depth perception.
FK 1/4. Well,
Hey.
I could do James's idea and do the. He was going to do a FK 0.1.
I found the parts for that the other day because I had started the original design, and I
Right.
was using 8mm rods, and the 8mm rods ended up being more of a nuisance than they were worth for the size of the printer. So I ordered 6mm rods and bearings, and I found them in a bag. I thought they never showed up. So once
I've had days like that.
So once this printer's done, I am going to go back to finish ripping off. I mean, what kind of design inception is that if you end up stealing my idea that was based on an idea that I stole from you?
I didn't steal it. You gave it to me.
What's that?
Oh, you're talking about the point.
0.1. Yeah.
Oh,
I was calling it the FK.1.
yeah, but I would go like the FK 0.5 because it would still be bigger than yours.
Hey, no need to get personal. Come on.
I have this just box of miscellaneous random parts.
I'm trying to link cable ties with one hand. It's definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely a earned skill to be able to do that.
That being said, I'm just about ready to attach the bed again. And the other reason I had to reprint some of these parts is because the almost dropped it. Almost dropped the whole printer. And it would have taken out my monitors too. Costly mistake. The Y limit switch wasn't actually clearing the back of the bed because I had added some ribbing to the plates after the fact and didn't realize that it was going to interfere with that. Don't you hate when you spend a bunch of time engineering something and you think you caught a mistake at the very end, so you correct it, and it just creates another mistake?
Right. Or the original mistake was never there to begin with.
It was all just a dream.
You're like, oh, this is going to be a problem. So you redesign it and then it causes a different problem. And then you realize the original problem was never there.
Yep.
They really should, these brass Acme nuts, they should thread these.
What's that?
The brass Acme nuts.
Thread them how?
Thread them so that I don't have to put a screw through it with a nut on the bottom.
Oh, thread them on the outside and on the inside is what you're saying.
Right. Actually thread the mounting holes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh, threading them on the outside would be a great idea. You could just screw them into the piece. Of course,
Yeah, exactly.
it could work loose. You'd still have to put a screw through it.
But then, like, you could just toss some sort of capacitive nut on the bottom of it or whatever, and you'd be all set instead of having to have. Because right now it's like 3 or 4 screws per, you know.
Right. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to order quite a bit of hardware, which is fine because when you're gonna order hardware, you're gonna pay shipping, so you might as well order a whole crap ton of it when you do it.
I usually try and max everything out. For anything that has free shipping, I end up always ordering more than I needed because I don't want to pay for the shipping.
Right, of course.
Which is good and bad because when you start analyzing, it's like you're not paying, like the money you would have paid for shipping is now coming out of the company that you're buying from's pockets, which if it's a small business isn't always great.
Yeah, but if you're buying more stuff, they're making more profit. I mean, there's a reason that they set that, minimum, whatever that, $25 or $35 minimum is.
Yep.
They know that by buying that much stuff. No, where you really get them is like when Open Builds does the free shipping weekends, and you order, 1,500 millimeter long pieces of extrusion.
Oh, like the most inconvenient things to ship in the world, basically.
Right. Walter's probably building the FL1 with 3D printed extrusions. Oh, that'd be miserable. Was the fighter jet crash near him? I didn't hear anything about that.
Okay. Well, I think.
Oh, that was rude of me to be yawning on stream. You guys bore me. Sorry. All right, so I need some 5x10 flathead.
Who has a flathead?
My screws do. I need some 3x12, I think. Yeah, 3x12 socket cap.
Running this belt is going to be a pain in the butt.
Well, then you're putting it on wrong. It should be much higher than that.
I got low rides.
Well, then the belt's not going to help you.
It's just for looks, dude. It's just for looks.
All right. You can pull up a chair.
No.
Oh, yeah. I was very lazily looking for something that I could poke the monitor with so I could turn it back instead of getting up.
Lazy's the way to be.
I'm just tired. Canadian crack. No.
I don't have enough hands.
My wife and I decided that we were going to build a puzzle together. And I don't know if we have any Star Wars fans in the audience, but we only had 2 puzzles in the whole house. That weren't like kiddie puzzles. One of them was Da Vinci Code, and it just didn't look very exciting. And the other one is a Star Wars puzzle, which is like a big, it's not big, it's 2 foot by 1.5 foot, but it's 1,000 piece, and it's Darth Vader's bust, and which would be fine, except for it's a mosaic puzzle, and the actual pictures are like maybe 3/4 by 1 centimeter in size, and a lot of them are like pretty much the same image. So you might see the same image 1,000 different places. I guess it wouldn't be 1,000 because it's 1,000 pieces, but
A couple dozen different places.
it has been a challenge. And then the dark spots, like in Vader himself, you can't really see what's in it at all. So yeah, it's
So the first night, it took us like, 3 hours just to do the border. And and then we couldn't find one of the edge pieces, but it was brand new. You know how that goes. And so we were like, why are we doing this? Why haven't we quit yet? And I'm like, I'm not a quitter. It was awful.
The only thing I ever quit was
It was, but we're still working on it.
Yeah, no, we try very hard not to work on it.
It's to the point where I go to her and I'm like, you want to play puzzle? And she's like, I guess. Uncle Ron said of puzzles, that's one solid color printed on both sides. I seen one on the internet that was it was cut out of clear acrylic. It was just a bunch of clear acrylic, so you wouldn't know which side is up, and there's no picture to go by. But apparently Amazon has sold a crap ton of puzzles during this pandemic, because you go on there now and a puzzle's like $47, and there's no way I'm paying $47 for a puzzle. I'll just take the picture down off the wall and cut it up with scissors and then put it back together.
sounds like you need a CNC machine.
Yeah, I got part of one.
Which part? The C, the N, or the other C?
The MP part, the mostly printed.
Oh,
That's where it is too. It's mostly printed.
do you have the printed parts of the mostly printed?
No, they're mostly printed. So what happened was I started printing it in that clear PETG that I got from IC3D before they sold PETG. It was one of 2 rolls that they had ever produced, and that's when I fell in love with the filament, because it printed so nice, and it's just natural. And so then I knew that I wasn't going to have enough to print the whole thing in that. Laurent said, is that one of your unfinished projects? Oh, yes. And I have so many. I was actually making a list of my unfinished projects, but I never finished the list. So
is that a joke, or is that because I don't know if that's a joke or you being ironic, or
no, that was totally a joke.
Okay.
I would never even try to make a list of my unfinished projects.
Because you know you'd never finish it.
Right. But no, so I knew I wasn't going to have enough in one roll to print the whole project out. So I decided I was going to do it in 2 colors, clear and black. And at the time, the only other PETG I had was Hatchbox. So I started printing out all of the black parts. And then I ran out of black PETG and couldn't get any more Hatchbox. And somebody sent me a roll, and I feel bad for not remembering. It might have been Tom Lama, or I don't know. They're probably in here, and they'll chime in and verbally abuse me for not remembering who sent it to me.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, agreed. But I can blame that on age. But then I just never got that roll. Is still sitting here. It's earmarked for that project, and I just never went back to finish it.
Hi, Mika. Are you here to destroy everything again? It feels like you're here to destroy everything again. Cats are the worst.
Glenn Hogue said I printed most of the printed parts for an MPCNC. Need to get back to it someday.
Nope.
Well,
Get down. Sorry.
Again, in my defense, I started that project as a cover for this project. Like, I started building that project so I could ask questions about stepper motors and stuff without people really knowing what I was doing. And then, but I wanted to actually have some parts so that I could talk about it as though I was really doing it. And not that I don't have any intentions on doing it, but I have been eyeballing the machines from Open Build, so who knows what might happen in the future. But I'm not done with this project yet. So until this project gets done, I don't really want to start working on that one. Unless I needed something, because that was part of it too. I thought, well, maybe I could CNC the aluminum bed plate for this, not realizing that CNC is not really good for aluminum. And not realizing that I wasn't going to make the bed move.
I'm trying to remove the belt tensioner because it's very difficult to loop the belt around the belt tensioner while it's in place. Guy that designed it's a bit of a bonehead.
Yeah, that's a terrible design. Uncle Ron said I built that small CNC. That was one of the little China CNCs, right? I built a small CNC when I was down at Mom and Dad's house. I still haven't tried it out yet. Those I hear are really good for, I mean, if you can get them to run reliably and within tolerance, they're good for doing PC boards. Chat's quiet today. There's 47 people watching and everybody's quiet. 7 by 15 by 1.5.
Mika, stop.
Wow, that's a really short. I guess you wouldn't need it to be to that scale, but that's a short Z. But I feel bad that I wasn't prepared for this project. I didn't realize that I was out of screws, and I keep them all in this one drawer. So I'll check the other ones just in case, but hey, does anybody know what gauge wire is on an end stop switch?
Isn't it like 18? I don't think it matters. There's so very little current going through it.
Yeah, I got to make some for shenanigans, Sean. And I wasn't sure what size the wire was. I know that like all the ones I did on here are larger than they need to be. So I want to get some 3-conductor attached wire. Glenn Hogue said much smaller, 24 gauge. Don't be looking at my crack, Uncle Ron. Oh, I bent over and Uncle Ron was looking at my butt. He's cheering. He's like, woo, Glenn butt.
Some people are a sucker for punishment.
Yeah, you know, if I took this cabling system off the ends, which I'm not going to need anymore, I could recover a whole bunch of screws. So at least 8 off of each side that I could recover. And I'm not going to, actually 10 off of each side I could recover. And I'm not going to need it anymore with the 4 lead screws. It kind of makes me sad to take it off because it's such an incredible solution to the problem that I was having. You know, not to toot my own horn or anything, but
You're going to break my keyboard, Mika, and I'm going to be very mad.
yeah, it's really sad to be taking this off.
Is it breaking your heart, buddy?
It is kind of, because it's one of the things that people would always ask about. Like when you're at the maker fairs and stuff, people always wanted to know what that cable was for. But with progress comes the removal. And even like the cable path and stuff took me a long time to figure out how to route that cable to where it would, you know, bypass itself. But it had to go at some point. I mean, it's coming off of there, so.
Cost of doing business, right?
Yeah. On to bigger and better things.
The belt's twisted.
What's that?
The belt is twisted, and I didn't realize it. I was just thinking to myself, putting the belt through the second loop to finish it off went so easy. I was like, oh, it was so much easier than attaching it to the front of the bed, and that's why.
Sad day. You know, it's funny though, as long as that has been strung up on the end of this printer, which has been a year and a half, maybe a little better then, because I put it on before Maker Faire in November 2018. But just taking it off, it's still all coiled up. It's steel leader fishing material is what it is. But like it never lost its coil.
It never recoiled in horror.
It never uncoiled.
Decoiled.
Decoiled.
So what's for supper tonight?
I don't know.
Pizza?
No, we had pizza Friday night. It's
Yeah,
become
but Sunday's the start of a new week, so it doesn't count.
what's that?
Sunday's the start of a new week. It doesn't count.
Yeah, I can't handle it that often. What'd you say, babe? Oh, I guess I'm having leftover spaghetti tonight. Yeah, the chain pizza places, for whatever reason, like they make me sick to my stomach. So I haven't been eating a lot of chain pizza lately. And but I did discover, and I really hate to give them a plug, but Papa John's has a Papadillas, which is like it's like a small pizza folded in half, but it's a sandwich, and it doesn't have the pizza sauce on it, and it's really good, and it doesn't make me sick. So it's most likely the pizza sauce that makes me sick.
Well, now you know.
Yep.
And knowing is half the battle.
But I am quite torn up because my favorite salad bar restaurant, which is called Sweet Tomatoes, they also own Soup Plantation, is permanently closed after this whole pandemic thing. And that makes me really sad because I liked that place.
I've seen, not just because of the fact of lack of business, but I've seen that there's a lot of the buffet places that may have to close due to new regulations about the way that stuff's going to work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know if you guys have them up there, but we have Golden Corral here.
No.
Which that's a buffet. And they're talking about going to cafeteria style.
Oh, where they'll have people serve you the food.
Right, where you just walk along the line and they slop the stuff on your plate. Or they said that, or possibly family style, where you just tell them the kind of food you want, and the server brings a whole bunch of it to your table.
Both sound like decent enough compromises. I know at least one person that was like, I think we're getting carried away. And it's like, okay, we say that, but if we don't learn any lessons from this particular one, and the next one that comes along is worse.
Yeah, but I mean, they only come along once every 100 years or so. We'll be dead by the time the next one comes.
That's certainly a way of thinking about it.
I mean, that may not actually be true, but
Well, you know what they say, 83% of statistics are made up on the spot.
that's right. Of course, I heard it was 89%, but
Only 22% of people get that right.
yeah, I don't know. Like,
regular germs. There was a article I read, and there was a study in Japan to see how fast germs spread in a buffet, and it was they used dye, they used infrared dye, and it was amazing how it spread, like how fast it spread. But like regular germs, who cares? You know, like when I was a kid, we'd eat dirt. Who cares? We drink from the garden hose that they tell you now will give you cancer. Of course, garden hoses were probably made out of better material back then too, but
Yeah, they used genuine asbestos.
right. But no, you're right. I mean, we do have to learn something from this, like just avoid people and stop handshakes. And I truly, truly hope the handshakes go away, because that's a really, really terrible habit that we have.
And
It's
for
always awkward. You go to get that handshake from somebody and they got like a weak, clammy handshake, and then you're like weirded out by it. Uncle Ron wants to know, is it still pizza without pizza sauce? No, it's called a papadilla. It's a sandwich.
Mika's sitting here just patiently waiting for me to try and lift her onto the desk, which isn't going to happen. She's
Oh,
hanging out over there. Old and cranky as you please.
Bennett said, sorry I wasn't here today. I lost my glasses while canoeing and couldn't watch on my PC. Well, that's what you get for going outside and doing outside things.
Yeah. I'd ask if you see your mistake, but you clearly don't.
Oh,
I know Canadians are supposed to be nice, so I'm sorry.
Glenn, would it be better for the bed to drop from the extruder to save amps? I think you said something about a redesign from that way. No, originally the bed was going to move like this. Okay, so for those of you who don't know the story, and I love to tell this story, and it makes Sanders' eyes roll because I tell this story so much, but the whole reason that this printer happened originally was because of G Create's Big, which they made for themselves. The Big has a 42-inch wide bed. It's 16 by 42. And so I went to, when I was at Murph, I went to Gordon and I said, listen, I love the Big. It's really cool. I really want one. I can't afford to buy one. I'm going to rip you off and build my own. And he said, do it. It's so much fun. You got to do it. So then he went above and beyond and started giving me pointers. He was showing me the things that he did that he would do differently. Things like not using 20 by 20 for the crossbar. And if you haven't seen the Big or any of the G Create, think about the design of the pretty much every printer out there now, you know, the CR10s and stuff. It was kind of that same premise, only built a lot better with a lot better materials. So he gave me some pointers, told me that he had to go to 2 motors on the Y to move the bed, et cetera, et cetera. So he gave me a bunch of notes after Murph, and I was home. Well, actually on the way home, my wife was like, you know, you have to do it now. And I'm like, well, if you insist. And so
This is your fault.
yeah, it's her fault. After I got home, I reached out to Gordon and asked him more questions and stuff because I wasn't sure the size of the bed. And so he said, oh, it's 16 by 42. And I'm like, that's fantastic. So I made mine 16 by 48 because, you know, you have to have the biggest bed. And so then, so I designed it that way. The single overhead bar, the bed moving, the whole deal. And then I showed it to some wise guy,
Some stupid Canardian.
and he said, hey, how much does that bed weigh? And I said, 19 pounds. And he said, how about the 10 pounds of filament you're going to put on it? And I said, oh, yeah. And he said, make the bed not move. So I went, okay. So I went back to the drawing board and redesigned it. That's when it became a 4-post instead of just the 2. And the extruder moved this way. So it had a long bar that moved back and forth like this. and it had the drive shaft, instead of being the short way, it was all the way across the back, which was producing some problems. But I got it all designed, and that's actually what's in my book. And I don't know if I have close-ups of that, but yeah, here's the drive shaft running across the back, and I showed it to Sanjay from E3D, and I showed him the book, and he stared at it for what felt like 3 hours, but it was probably 10 seconds. And he said, "Why did you make the extruder move on the long axis instead of the short axis?" And I said, "Because I'm an idiot and you're not." So I went home and redesigned it into this. But the whole idea of that bed not moving is this bed is permanently leveled. It doesn't move, therefore it'll never go out of level. That's what I'm working on right now, is this leveling itself. But it wouldn't really, it would be worse to lift and lower the bed because of the weight of the bed. So amperage wise, I know long answer to a quick question, but amperage wise, this thing only weighs about 8 pounds. That bed weighs 20. So now I'm tired. Oh, we're past 6 o'clock, man.
Oh, I'm so close. Can we go for another like 3 minutes and I should be able to home it?
Okay.
I'll feel better if I can home it by the end of this thing. I gotta put one more nut on this and then put the limit switch back on.
Yeah, you know, like our start time is never solid. Our finish time is never solid. It's just somewhere between 4 and 6. I'll go back to screwing parts onto this end. Now that I recovered some screws, I had to take the cable off this side, babe. Now I'm all sad. My amazing cable design. Yeah, for those of you who didn't hear that story, I woke up one morning with the perfect fix for leveling the bed out with this equalizer cable. And I sat down and I designed it, and it worked flawlessly. And I was so proud of myself. I had no idea how I came up with that idea. And then a few weeks later, I was out working in the garage. In fact, I think I was cleaning, and I looked up at my 2-car lift, and I went, my 2-post car lift, and I'm like, oh, that's how that thing levels. That's probably where I got the idea from. Just my brain didn't remember. I'd put that on upside down. Yeah. Well, that doesn't go there anyway, because here. Good thing I didn't bolt that on yet. Did I not print those parts?
You know what? I'm trying to get the bed perfectly on here. Since we're in a bit of a hurry, I'm going to leave leveling it till later. Right, put the last nut on here and call it the printer. Also, now that I've said I want to make this home before we say goodbye, it's I'm going to have miscalculated somewhere, and it's going to catch. I guarantee it. Gonna go around to the other side. Hold on 2 seconds. Ugh.
Uncle Ron, I'm not sure if I'm going to end up using those, at least not right now anyway, because that's going to be a really massive redesign. They're just slightly thicker than the spacing that I'm currently using, so things aren't going to line up. But I do want to use them because their tolerance is amazing, but that's going to have to be revision 2. And I'm not going to even consider a revision 2 until revision 1 is functional.
Wait, you're trying to build something functional?
Ideally. And again, I mean, it's functional the way it is. It's just, it's missing some pretty major feature, which is ease of use.
I need to put 2 little screws in it to hold the limit switch, and then. Oh,
Okay, you're all right. Are you streaming today, Xander?
what was that?
I was asking Xander if he's streaming. No stream today? Well, you heard it here first, folks. There's no Peg Leg Paul stream today. But he said you can still subscribe. Make it 6 subscribers. What are you at now?
I'm at 180 still.
All right, so he's holding in at 180, which is really nothing to be ashamed of.
Just remember,
Xander's channel is Peg Leg Paul, youtube.com/Peg Leg Paul, all one word, of course. Yeah, Tim Wood 12, car lift style level system, nail on the head. Yeah, and that is exactly, I mean, as soon as I went out there, I was sweeping or something. I looked up and I went, oh, well, of course, that's exactly how that works. Peg leg Paul does sound better than cross-legged Xander. Cross-eyed Xander would be pretty funny, yeah. But if he was wearing an eye patch, then nobody could tell anyway. They would just think he's always looking, you know, one side.
Okay.
181. That was probably Mitch. If I knew where my keyboard was. Oh, there it is.
Oh, my other camera's on the floor. Can't believe it fell for that. Hey-oh.
Thought you were giving us like really great different angles of the basement.
I don't know if anybody ever described that angle as great, but
183. 183. Awesome.
You guys are making his day.
I'm gonna go unsubscribe from him.
I do that all the time. You know what really like gets his gears grinding is when I'm sitting there and it like his notification of his video release comes up on my phone and I look at it and then I just swipe it away. He's like, really? I'm like, I can't sit around watching you play Minecraft for 30 minutes. I don't have time for that.
That's much more solid, by the way.
Is it?
There's no like I hit it and it bounces back to position. There's not a bunch of reverberation.
Well, it's good. I mean, like, in theory, it shouldn't move. Like, there's no real pressure on it anyway.
Ha!
That's it? Oh,
Well, now I have to home the Z. You know what? This is a big step for me because while I've been doing my test prints, I've had to hold the Y limit switch in my hand, and then I'd let it go back till the motor buzzes, and I'd have to tap it twice real quick so that it thought that it was homing properly. Because I kept saying, I'm like, I don't want to reprint that part only to find out that I have to make other design changes. So I'll do test printing on it, see how it goes.
that's pretty funny. Uncle Ron said we need to synchronize and unsub. Okay, everybody.
Max Exodus.
5, 4, 3.
Okay, we're good.
Awesome.
I
Well, I
can
guess
go
that-
home now.
That's going to bring to close today's stream.
You got
Wait.
16 extra bonus minutes of James and Glenn.
Yeah, it went extremely fast for me today because I was so busy with the projects, which the downside to that is I end up coughing mid-sentence. I end up missing most of the chat. Wow. Dry throat.
It's not COVID. We're 83% sure.
I'm looking for a sponsor. No, it's not COVID. I haven't been outside. I don't go around other people. People are like, "You want to come over?" I'm like, "No, God, no."
I didn't want to come over when everything was fine. I definitely don't want to come over now.
Right. when they had everybody come back to work, which I mean, I work from home anyway, but they were like, "Well, are you going to come to the meeting on Monday?" And I'm like, "Nope, not for at least another month. There's no way I'm sitting in a tiny little room with all you people." But so no, that's gonna bring the end of today, and I do apologize for not paying attention to chat, but that's kind of the way it is when I'm working on a project. So it's got to be one or the other, and I do try to at least catch up once in a while. What's that?
I think we got most of it.
Yeah. Well, they were kind of quiet today. So, and again, there's always like a very small fraction of the people that that chat in, and the rest of the people watch quietly. And just once in a while, I would like everybody to say something just so that we can acknowledge your existence here. I mean, your big claim to fame will be that I say your name out loud on YouTube to the other 50 people that are watching. Oh, haha, guys, you're so funny. But no, James, you want to do any outro? Tell anybody what's going on? Anything you got coming up?
I'm James. I'm
How to support you?
on YouTube. I'm JC Print and Play on Twitter. The designs for this printer have already been released to my Patreon subscribers, but I am going to release it open source. So if you're interested in trying to print something that prints about the same size as a CR10, might be fun. I don't know. That's what I've got going on right now. Everything I'm doing is related to printing face shields. So that's it for me.
3D Print Viking said, "Same here. I have no friends." And of course, again, for those of you who don't recognize me with this awesome rough mountain man beard that I've been growing for over a month now, you can't tell it, but I have a mustache too. It's really there. This is the first time I've ever had facial hair, and it's taken over a month to grow it, even this month much. And there's like big bald spots. It's hysterical, but I got nowhere to go, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, so for those of you who don't recognize me, I am Glenn from Fun King 3D, and I know it says it around here somewhere. And I am Fun King 3D pretty much everywhere. 3D Jimmy said, "I thought your face was dirty." That's the way it feels, man. I don't know how anybody lives with facial hair. It drives me crazy. But honestly, I don't think I got much coming out in the way of videos. We will have a MakerBox video coming out pretty soon as well. They did send us a Cryptid Crate, which is their new mystery box that's more, like UFO and Bigfoot related. So we're gonna unbox one of those just for fun. Otherwise, I don't really know. Not a lot of free time to do streams right now. And really, I'm just out of ideas for regular videos. But, someday we'll get back to that.
Just start doing all the videos I've done. That's the way this is supposed to go anyways.
Well, I was going to copy Chris Riley, and then you can copy me after that.
That's fair. Chris Riley's got better ideas than both of us put together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but so as I say every week, and I mean it, you guys are the most important people here. Without you guys, these streams would be absolutely senseless to do. And therefore, we love each and every one of you. And we
except for that one guy.
That one guy is really kind of a pain. But we would like to ask that not only you come back next week at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, but also that you bring a couple of friends, because that's the only way that we're going to get bigger. A thumbs up would be appreciated as well.
James's link is down in the description so that you can subscribe to his channel if you have not yet. And eventually we are going to start rotating this between the channels just to drive business, to drive viewership to both channels. But otherwise, I don't know. Hang in there and we'll just keep going. We're going to see how the new name sticks. I have no idea, but
Get ready for next week's name.
it's What's 3D Printing with Print and Play and Fun King 3D. So, but that's it for this week. So we love each and every one of you. And I don't know, as always,
Print on.
print on.